Welcome to the Elliott Confidential podcast. I'm Christopher Elliott, joined by my sons Aren and Iden Elliott. What an adventure we have had. We are in Barcelona, Spain now. How are you guys feeling?
I feel great, for all things considered.
How about you,
I don't
Iden?
know.
I feel better than you.
Okay, I should probably say, by
Yeah.
way of full disclosure, I'm sitting here on a sofa. Aren is playing with one of my crutches. I've been in a very bad ski accident. And I will tell you a little bit later on, in my own words, how I got into a bad ski accident. But I am on probably 3 different types of pain medications. So if I say something that doesn't make any sense, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
And you gentlemen have been helping me recover, which is great. You've been...
Yeah. We've been like your personal
my
valet.
valet, yes, I
We've
know.
been going and getting you drugs and food when
It's
you
been-
can't walk.
Well, it's been 3 weeks since we've done a podcast.
I know.
Can you tell everyone here where we've been in the last 3 weeks?
We were in Basel, and then we went down to Madrid because we were supposed to just go down to Madrid because we had an apartment there, and we went from Madrid back to Switzerland to do a skiing event there. Then we went back to Madrid after that, after you had your accident too, and then from Madrid up to Barcelona, and that's all been within the last 15 days.
Yeah, that's been quite an eventful 15 days, I should say.
Yeah.
So it's been 3 weeks, and a lot has happened. You guys have finished your schoolwork, so you're done with your semester.
Yay.
I'm very happy about that. Before we get into looking at the details of what we've done, let's talk about this week's question. I thought because of this accident, which I'm going to tell you about in a minute, I would ask, what is the worst accident that you've ever had when you've traveled? So tell me about, breaking bones or slipping and falling or worse or better or whatever. But I'd love to hear about your accident. And also, bonus question, were you insured? And did the insurance pay? Because, insurance doesn't always pay. So I'd love to hear about that. Okay. So I should probably talk a little bit about how I got into this accident. Iden, can you set this up for us? We were in Arosa, Switzerland. We were at a really nice hotel called the Chugen Grand. It was the first day of skiing. We were going up the hill.
I wasn't there, Aaron was.
You were not there. Okay.
Yeah, Aaron
That's
was.
right. Iden didn't see me until I had my crash. Aren, take it away.
So we go up the skill. So we go up the hill, and we had gotten all of our ski gear fitted, and we had our jackets on, and we had bought some gloves just for the occasion because we didn't bring our gloves with us. And so we get to the top of the hill, and we all decide to go down. You take about a couple turns, maybe a dozen turns, and then you think to yourself, well, wouldn't it be a great idea if I can just go into this fresh powder?
You were reading my mind at the time. That's exactly what I was thinking. There was this pocket of fresh powder. I went in, I made a couple of turns, I hit a rock, and I felt myself tumbling forward. And then I heard a crunch. And I thought, oh, that's not good. But it didn't really feel, there was no pain. But then when I tried to get up, I could not get up. And for the next hour, I laid there in the snow. Until finally, the ski patrol came by, strapped me into a sled, brought me down to the halfway station. And they said, we're going to call a helicopter and evacuate you. And I thought to myself, oh, I don't want a helicopter. I kept thinking this is going to be a huge bill. My insurance company won't pay for this. It ended up that they did cover that, so that was good. But I got evacuated in a helicopter from Arosa to the Kantonsspital Chur, which is the next big city.
Yeah.
Chur. It's spelled C-H-U-R.
It was Kantonsspital Graubünden.
Right, Graubünden in Chur. Right, Graubünden is the
Canton.
and then Chur is the city. Anyway, so They x-rayed me, they MRI'd me, and I kept thinking I'm going to walk out of the hospital, but it did not happen. I was hurt pretty badly. I ended up having a broken pelvis and 2 broken ribs. And I laid there for 24 hours thinking that they were going to have to do surgery on me.
Yeah, not good.
Where they were going to like put plates in and things like that. It ended up, I wrote a story about this. It ended up that it was not necessary to do surgery. And in fact, I just went and did a follow-up appointment here in Spain, and everything's stable, so I don't need surgery. That's the good news. But I had a very interesting time at the Swiss hospital. Swiss hospitals are very efficient. They're very friendly. The people there are extremely nice, and they take very good care of you. I had an excellent time there. I wish that I wasn't so badly hurt. I think I would have enjoyed myself more.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Switzerland. I enjoyed my time in Chur, even though I was there to see you in the hospital. And by the way, just a little FYI, if you're planning to go to Arosa, do not take a taxi from Chur, because it is possibly the most stressful.
Actually, no, I would recommend people take that taxi.
Yeah.
It is a roller coaster. They almost drift on the cliff sides.
Oh,
well,
no.
with the,
I'm glad
with
I
the
missed that.
ice, yeah. It's crazy. Don't do that. Take the train instead.
Yes, there's a train that goes from Chur to Arosa.
It's less expensive too.
And it is it's very scenic, and it's pretty much a straight line. But the drive is lots of hairpin turns and very scary. I do not like going on those roads either. So final impressions of Switzerland. What did you think of Switzerland?
I want to go back to Switzerland.
Why?
Right now, actually.
What do you now?
I mean, I like Spain, but I love Switzerland.
Yeah, I know. I love Switzerland too. What did you love about it?
Everything's clean.
Yeah.
Everything is really well put together. The weather, it's cold, but it's not like a bad type of cold. It's the type of cold that you look for, it's almost as if, in winter they have spring skiing days.
Well,
it's not windy.
They don't have like the wind because of the Alps are, so you don't really get the...
Yeah, it's just kind of cold and snowy, and it's actually quite pleasant. So the weather was surprisingly nice. That everything was really, really clean. Everything was beautiful, and really you had everything there that you could have wanted, because if they don't have something that they want in Switzerland, they will import it. I feel like Qatar and UAE take after the Swiss in that sense. I feel like actually the Qatar and UAE tried to make themselves Switzerland, but you can't all the original is always the best, I would say, and so that's why I would say Switzerland is just really possibly the best country we've ever visited, and I would love to go back there.
I agree with you. I think Switzerland is an amazing place, and I enjoyed it immensely. So if I have an opportunity to come back, I'm definitely going back. How about you, Aren?
Switzerland is great, and it does a lot of things right. I wouldn't say it's the best country ever, though. I think that to a certain extent it's lacking in certain fields. Like Switzerland, it just plays it really safe. That's the issue, is they play it really safe. There's a lot of risks that need to be taken in order to make a truly outstanding city. And sometimes the best cities can also be the worst cities in certain places. So I feel like Switzerland's just a very consistent, safe place. And I would definitely have no problem going back there.
Well, we might have that chance. You just never know. I think that after ending up in a hospital, I think I need to do a do-over.
Yeah, right. Well, I think we need to wait for our Schengen to refill.
Yes, we're about at the end of our Schengen days. That's true.
Yeah.
And for the folks listening, Schengen is basically an area in most of Central and Western Europe, and you only have 60 days. Is it 60 or 90? It's 90 days. 90 days in Schengen, and then you have to leave and recharge your days. So we're almost at the end of our 90 days. So we are now in Spain. Convalescence time for me. I've been sitting here on the sofa most of the time, but I've been hobbling around town. And I would love to know what your impressions are of Spain, starting with Madrid. Aiden, what did you think of Madrid?
I didn't see much of Madrid. You guys walked around a lot more than me. While we were in Madrid, I mostly just did schoolwork. So my impression of Madrid is work, 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 and then only leave the house to get food.
Okay. All right. Aren, what did you think of Madrid?
Madrid's a nice city. It's like, I would say it's the New York City of Spain because it has that grid and
Grit.
it has the
The
grid.
grid, it has a grid layout.
Grid layout,
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
grit. Oh, I thought you meant grit.
It's not that gritty. No.
No.
I mean,
No. Well, there are gritty parts.
yeah.
I didn't. It was not. It was definitely not a grid there. They had. It was more like Washington D.C. because Washington D.C. They have roads that go all over, swerving around the place. It's not a perfect grid there.
Yeah, but there was definitely more grid in Madrid. More
That's a
grid
very
in
weird way
Madrid.
to describe it. The city had grid. No, the city
It had
is
a
a grid.
It had a grid. Yeah. Now we are in Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Who wants to talk about Barcelona?
Well, I will talk about Barcelona. Barcelona is a very interesting city. It's warmer here than it is in Madrid, definitely. Better weather. We've been in Barcelona once before, just like Madrid. And, we spent time in the Gothic quarters and nearby. And we spent time biking around, which we will, for obvious reasons, not be doing.
No biking this time, unfortunately.
This time, yeah. But Barcelona is a really interesting city. It's definitely not Madrid. I would say Barcelona is like LA if Madrid is New York.
Right, because the weather is much better here too. You have it's been maybe in the 60s, and it's the week of Christmas, so the weather here is very, very nice. There's still leaves on the trees, but there's a difference in the people too. Catalonians are not the same as the people that you meet in Madrid. They speak a different language, different cadence here, and also Barcelona. I know that people are going to criticize me for saying this, but it's kind of a party town, really.
Barcelona.
Barcelona. I think people come here to have a good time. We are not one of those people. We didn't come here to have a good time. We just came here, to get some work done. But you can tell there's a lot of tourists here who are interested in having a good time.
Yeah, and that's equally reflected on a lot of the graffiti. Now, if you have never been to Barcelona or outside of the Gothic quarters, you probably will not have ever seen this graffiti that says tourist or tourists go home. But you see a lot of that here.
Yeah.
People here really don't like tourists. I mean, at least if you were to pay attention specifically to the graffiti. There's a problem here. People don't like VRBO, Airbnb politically. They don't like tourists coming and having a good time and getting really drunk and driving the natives out of the city.
Yeah.
They really don't like that, and so you have this conflict. And politically, it's very strongly sort of anti-tourist in a certain sense, and it's the same deal with taxis too. Uber, we were talking with someone about this. Uber has really struggled to exist in Barcelona because of the taxi industry here. And so the taxi industry surprisingly decided they were going to make a deal with Uber saying, hey, we'll let you be in our city so long as each customer has to wait 15 minutes for each taxi ride.
Yeah, right.
Which, if that were to be the case, it would put Uber out of business. Now, they found a way around it, but it just goes to show the government here and all of this, it's sort of not all that tourist friendly, even if the city is extremely tourist friendly and the market is very tourist friendly. But the government and the people, they have some reservations.
I would say that of all the places that we've been to, this is the most hostile to tourists. And I feel like, when you're talking about tourists, you're not necessarily talking about people like us. You're talking about the kinds of people who come here to, get drunk and do a 1 week vacation rental and just
Really?
let it all hang out.
How is it hostile?
Well, there's the signs, the tourists go home signs. And then there's the politics too. They've elected, basically, I think she's an anarchist, if I'm not mistaken, who is openly hostile to tourism. There's been no new hotel permits since the latest government has been elected, and they've disallowed any new permits for Airbnbs. So they're really clamping down on tourists. The problem, though, is that tourism is a big deal here. Without tourism, the economy would really hurt, and so they need the tourists, but they don't want the tourists. It's kind of like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, interesting. I remembered a similar thing being the case in Greece, where you would go around and there would be graffiti signs everywhere that says Airbnb, go home.
It has Airbnb F off. But that was in some places.
I will never forget the first day we were staying in an apartment. It was not an Airbnb. It was a Blue Ground apartment, which are great. And I remember these are really tiny streets in Athens. So you open the balcony and then you look across the street and there's a guy on his balcony. And I said, Kalimera. And then he looks at me and he goes, Airbnb? And I go, no. So he wanted to know if we were at an Airbnb. I guess they really don't like Airbnbs. So anyway, I would still recommend coming to Barcelona. It's a beautiful city, especially this time of year. All the Christmas lights are up. The people are in a very festive mood. I think also and the weather is really good too. So I think this is a great time to be here. Just, make sure you don't behave like a tourist, maybe.
Well, don't be irresponsible. Just because you're there for vacation doesn't mean that you get into trouble and things like that. Because there's only so much trouble that I guess the locals are willing to tolerate.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know about tourists getting into trouble here, but I can tell you that they have a little bit of a short fuse. So walking around, speaking loudly in American English, I don't know. That might be a turnoff to some people. So I don't know. But fun times. We're definitely going to explore Barcelona some more. I've actually started taking a couple of steps, so maybe I'll be able to walk around town a little bit more. In the meantime, our question of the week is, tell me about the time when you got really seriously hurt while you were on vacation. So, talk about the time when you slipped and fell in the shower in your cruise cabin, or maybe you broke an arm or something like that. And I'd really love to know how it went and whether your insurance covered your bill or not, or if you even had insurance. So please tell me about it in the comments, and we'll read your comments next week.
All right. It was good being with you guys this week for the LA Confidential podcast, and hopefully we'll have more information for you next week. We're going to be still in Barcelona, but after that, I think that we're going to shock you all
with our next destination, which we have not announced yet, but we will in due time. Yes. Sorry we missed a few weeks of the podcast, but now you know why. And now you know why I don't sound like I'm at 100%. I am heavily medicated. Hopefully I made some sense. You have been listening to the LA Confidential podcast. I'm glad you joined us. Enjoy your holidays, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.